A dream can be a dream come true with just that spark in me and you.
Hey y'all! Today I'm finally getting back to answering those questions you asked me about the Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique. So, sorry it's been so long, but things have been crazy and I haven't really had any free time to myself, but I got home from work today and I'm the only one here, so I thought today is the perfect time to answer your questions. So, here we go! Okay, the first couple questions come from Julie Price. Julie Price wants to know, what is the training like? Are the hairstyles hard to learn? And do you have any experience with working in a salon? Training for me was about 5 days long. Basically, we just learned the hairstyles, went over them a lot of times, and basically described what the role required and how to do our job. So, practice is basically what we did for 5 days, and then they just send you out there. The hairstyles are hard to learn at first, but once you actually start doing them and getting the hang of them, it really is not long at all to get used to them. At first I was a little overwhelmed, to be honest, but then once I actually started practicing on the little girls, it became so much easier, and now I can do them in my sleep probably, so it's really not bad. Do I have any experience working in a salon? No, I do not have any experience in a salon, but I did do color guard back in high school, so I did hair and makeup for that. I've done musical theater for a long time, so I did hair and makeup for that as well. And I was a camp counselor one summer for a theater camp for kids, and so I did their hair and makeup there. And I think that's what really got me this role, because we talked about it a lot in my phone interview, was that experience working with kids and doing their hair and makeup as well. So I don't have any experience in salon, but I do have that. This next question comes from Kristen Alba, and I also noticed Kristen has been accepted for the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique for Fall Advantage coming in this fall. So congrats, Kristen. She wanted to know, what is your favorite part of your role and your least favorite part? Also, what's your biggest advice for incoming fidgets? And for those who don't know what fidget means, it means fairy godmother in training. It's just an abbreviation. My favorite part of my role would probably have to be those extra magical little girls who come in. And they are the ones who are just so excited, and it seems like they've been waiting for this their entire life, and they just cannot wait to meet you and cannot wait to talk to you. And as soon as they sit down in your chair, you know that they're going to be absolutely wonderful. And just getting to know them in the 30 minutes that you're with them is absolutely so rewarding. And once you get to turn them around and see their faces, that just makes your day. It makes your entire day. And there are princesses who I've had who I can name them all. I can remember their names, I remember where they're from, I remember everything about their life, because they touched me as much as I apparently touched them. So I really love getting those little girls, and I really love making those experiences for them and their families. I've signed several autograph books, and that's just, it's my favorite thing. I love signing autograph books. So that would probably have to be my favorite part, is those extra special little girls and those extra special families who truly make you feel like you've made magic for them. My least favorite part of my role, I hate to have a least favorite part, but I guess would be the other side of my favorite part of the role, and that is that some families are not as magical to interact with. Some families come in and they're a little bit difficult. That's fine. I mean, there's going to be families who come in, and no matter what job you do, there's going to be difficult people and there's going to be awesome people. And luckily, those are few and far in between. Most people are very happy, very nice. But there are some guests that are not so happy, so I just wish that every one of them were happy, but it's fine. That's probably my least favorite part, is whenever people come in and they're not as nice, but that's okay. Just grin and smile through it, and it'll be okay. They're usually, by the end, they're fine. It's just they come in and they're not so happy because of something else that's happened in their day, but it's okay. It's fine. Also, my biggest piece of advice is maybe keep that in mind. People are not always going to be the nicest. Luckily, like I said, that's not as often as you might think. But just be aware of it, because the first couple times that it happened, I kind of got a little bit personally offended by it, or I was a little anxious or upset about some of my interactions. But it's fine. People are people, and you can't always help what's happened in a guest day, but you can make it magical for a little girl who's sitting in your chair. So as long as you keep those conversations magical and you keep the little girls in mind, then you'll be fine. Just don't take it personally. People have bad days. It's fine. Just turn it around for them by making their little girl's day magical. So that's probably the biggest piece of advice I have. Speaking of which, Natalie Wright asked, do you ever run into parents that are difficult to deal with or don't approve of what the child picks out? Yes. Yes, we do. Unfortunately, that does happen, but we always try to come up with a compromise. Every situation is different though, so you gotta judge the situation and see what you can do, but most cases, it's the child's decision. But no matter what happens, always make it magical for little girls and for the families, so turn every situation around and make it positive. Okay, my next set of questions come from YouTube user Lunosity. She says, what kind of prior experience did you have? What kind of questions did they ask in your phone interview? And what are the hours like? I already mentioned my prior experience, so there's that. What kind of questions did they ask you in your phone interview in regards to BBB? They kind of just asked, do you have any experience in hair makeup? Do you have any experience with kids? Would you mind doing it? We didn't really talk very much, like she didn't ask me a lot of questions about it, but we did talk about my experience and said that she told me that the boutique sounded perfect for me based on my experience. So I didn't really get asked a lot of questions about it. We just talked about my experience and she brought it up. And what are the hours like? As CPs, we usually work closing shifts. So the boutique is open from 8 to 8, and we usually work from 2 to 8, so the second half of the day. Katie Laporte, I believe is the name, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, asked, I love your costume, is it uncomfortable at all? My costume is actually not very uncomfortable at all. I am very comfortable in the costume. I like that it's a skirt. It's nice. For those of you who don't know what the costume looks like, I'll post the picture here. Yeah. And she also asked, what is there to do and what do you do personally at the boutique? Hair, merchandise, or am I off base? At the boutique, we could either be doing transformations themselves, which include hair, makeup, and nails, or we could be at the podium checking guests in, or we could be seating girls, or we could be working in the dressing rooms. So if a little girl gets one of the packages that includes an outfit, we would be setting up the outfits in the dressing rooms and then calling them back to get dressed, making sure everything fits, and then sending them back up to the front. Jessica Roke, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, asked, what are some of your responsibilities as a hostess? That's kind of the same thing. Usually we do the transformations, or we just do checking in, dressing rooms, or seating girls. YouTube user Mooney asked, for the people who do the hair, do they have to have past experiences in hair, or does Disney teach you everything? You don't have to have past experience. A lot of my coworkers do not. And Disney does teach you everything, so no worries at all. She also wanted to know, are there certain things, like towards your appearance, that you have to maintain to be specific to the boutique? We do have themed language in the boutique because our role is a merge of, it's underneath merchandise, but it's also a lot entertainment based. So we are fairy godmothers in training. We can't talk about anything in the real world. We can't talk about what we did yesterday with our roommates. We can't talk about the newest Taylor Swift song. We have to be fairy godmothers in training. So we live in the castle. Fairy godmother is our teacher, and we don't know what planes are. Nothing like that. So we do have to maintain that image. We do have to maintain that character. But other than that, as long as we are in Disney look guidelines, we're fine. So just the theme language, maintaining your character. YouTube user 11K Shepherd asked, did you apply for the specific role or was it just given to you? Yes, you do apply for the role. Whenever you apply for the Disney College program, there's going to be a list of roles in your application. You put your level of interest in the roles. or no interest at all. So I did put high interest in the role, and they can offer it to you if you do put any sort of interest in it. If you put no interest, they will not offer you a position in that role. So if you want the boutique, then put interest in it. If you don't want it, then just put no interest. But we don't know our location until we actually get down here and check in. So I didn't know I'd be working at the Magic Kingdom location until check-in day. Michelle Medina wanted to know, is there a simple way to go about finding roommates, and do you have any tips about apartment picking? I found all my roommates on the DCP Facebook page. It's not an official Facebook page, but there's usually one for each application season. So just search Disney College Program fall or spring of your year, and you can find a bunch of people who are applying for the same exact season as you are, and that's how I found all my roommates. I just put a roommate survey up, found them, and now we're roommates. Do you have any tips about apartment picking? You don't technically get to pick where you're put for housing, but you do get to list the level of which you would want them. So I wanted Patterson Court, which is what we got. So whenever we filled out our housing application, we put that as our number 1 choice. Then you go to number 2, number 3, and so on. You don't really get an exact say because you won't always get your first choice. They'll put you where there's room. But that's how they do it. So you put an order of how much you want the place, and then they'll put you where they have room. But I love Patterson Court, so if anyone's undecided where they want to live, Patterson is wonderful, absolutely great. But I do know that there are lists on Google of pros and cons of each housing complex, so I would Google that. I'm sure you can find them, and they were very helpful in deciding our priorities. YouTube user Spence Lives wants to know, how many hours do you work a week doing the boutique, and also how do you like working there? If you are in the DCP, you are guaranteed 32 hours a week in our housing contracts. I'm working about that a week in the boutique, but every role is different, depending on how much they need you or how demanding the seasons are. So during peak seasons, you'll probably be working more than you would in a non-peak season. And I do like working in the boutique. I'm sure every role has its ups and downs, and boutique is no exception. But I do really love my job, and overall, it's a fantastic place to work. And finally, last questions. Kirsten Jones asked, are you a freshman in college? No, I am a junior in college right now. How much experience did you have for the role when you applied? We talked about the experience. Do you need a lot of experience in order to apply for your role? Nope, you do not need any at all. And finally, how difficult was it to learn the hairstyles? It was a little overwhelming at first, like I said. Remembering the steps in order was a hard thing for me, because you learn this hairstyle, then you learn this one, then you learn this one, then you learn this one, and then you go back and practice them all. But once you actually get the hang of it, it's really fine. You get a lot of practice in your training week, and you get a lot of practice every day doing them, and they become so easy. Like I said, I could do them in my sleep. So it's not hard at all, not bad at all, and they teach you everything. And there we go. That's all the questions. I'm so sorry it took me so long to get back to these, but I hope I answered your questions. And for those of you who are interested in the boutique but didn't get a chance to ask a question, please feel free to leave your question down in the comments below. I will get back to them, I promise. It is much faster for me to just manually type out the answers than to make another video, so please leave your questions and I will get to them. And also, congratulations to Kristen again for getting accepted into the boutique for Fall Advantage. I know you'll have an absolutely magical time. Well, that's it for now. Bye!